chemo brain, I forget things conveniently. I remember Ravina, Pooja, all of us were at one time good friends. Neither I was a good mother, nor I was a good sister, or a good friend, or a good lover. But survived, I was damn good.
My question is, did you have to go to therapy after Heeramandi?
Why have I fallen for the wrong men? I took her to this candlelight dinner and this, then I said, huh? When does that happen? In the crisis, she rises. एक म्यान में दो तलवार नहीं रह सकते. So that's my thing with mom and me. जो मिट्टी पिघलने से शर्माती हो, उसकी हम मूर्ति कैसे बनाएं? मेहनत का फल मीठा होता है. Have I come out with this corny lines?
Hi, welcome to In the Ring with Filmfare. I'm in conversation with a very warm, compassionate person who I know since I started my career as a rookie reporter. Right now, we are in the midst of talking about her great comeback with Heeramandi. She straddled the world of Ratnam and Sanjay Bhansali with equal felicity, the world of Shankar and the world of Rajiv Rai with equal felicity. So I'm in conversation with somebody who I love to love, Manisha Koirala. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation.
Thank you, Jitesh, for having me.
Yeah, my first question to you is the Sanjay Bhansali of Khamoshi and the Sanjay Bhansali of Heeramandi. I mean, you gave him that break when a lot of senior actors and had refused to do his film and all of that. How has he changed as a director? The first day of Khamoshi and say the first day of Heeramandi.
I think a lot has changed. But what I still see the commonality between then and now is his passion for cinema. And I think back then also he was absolutely in love with what he was doing.
What are the kind of fights did you have during Khamoshi and during Heeramandi? I mean, I was witness to a few of them.
I think he will tell you that better. My chemo brain, I forget things conveniently. Yeah, we've had differences. But we also, I think at the bottom of it all, there is a deep respect. You know, people can have creative differences and people, whatever. And I guess those days I was also kind of very aisa hona chahiye and slightly more opinionated and all that. And also we were friends that time. We were absolutely, there was a comfort zone. When there's a fight or disagreement between two people, I think there's because it's based on comfort zone.
How did you play such a toxic mother? You're so unlike Mallikajaan. And would you say the relationship between her and her daughter was toxic? Not to compare your relationship with your mom at all, but I've seen you both blowing hot, blowing cold. I mean, you're absolutely inseparable. Absolutely, and there's a huge respect. But there is also a blow hot, blow. So were you reminded at any time, ki, oh my God, I have been this bad daughter or anything?
See, I tell you very honestly, I have closest bond with my mom. And I fight with her the most. It still goes on. Even now, she wanted to come today. And I said, no, mom, just let me just go and finish it. No, I need to go and I want to see what you're doing. So there is always this, between her and me. And dad has always been the pacifier between both of us. And we both are like, and I always tell in the household, एक म्यान में दो तलवार नहीं रह सकते. So that's my thing with mom and me. Having said that, she is my backbone. She is my best friend. She is somebody I go to whenever I'm confused and I feel lost. And during my cancer treatment, Jitesh, she would wake up at 4 in the morning and would cook what is needed for me to cook. And she would try and get hilsa march, which is meant to be having a kind of a protein. She would make some paya soup. She would call Bombay से तुलसी लेके आओ, पपीता का हरा पत्ता लेके आओ. I mean, there was a zillion thing that she was doing, and without caring two hoots about her own health. You know, I've seen in the crisis she rises, like,
A lioness.
yeah. And so all of us are completely grateful for her to have her in, with us. And Mallikajaan and Alamzeb, I think that um, is totally different. Though I feel there is a deep love, but also Mallikajaan has a lot of expectation from her youngest, because she sees the fire in her, which the daughter hasn't realized. But she sees her other daughter doesn't have that fire or zeal to be a huzur, that thing. She expects her youngest to carry forward the
But
thing.
isn't it borderline toxic?
It's definitely Mallikajaan is toxic. Mallikajaan is
Yeah.
not normal by any standard. I think she's so damaged. She carries so much of venom and pain and that childhood trauma that she doesn't flinch when doing something evil to other people. And I think her barometers of right and wrong and doing it, that thing is very warped than the average normal people. So to understand her, I, I mean, I was not able to comprehend her in one go. Uh, we had done multiple readings of the script. We discussed a lot with Sanjay. But then also, Sanjay, I was very observant that on location he loves to improvise. He gets bored and he gets tired if there's a monotonous, हो रहा है, तो he likes to improvise and all that. So, whichever, I was very keenly observing where he's taking this character, how he's portraying her, what is he expecting from Malika Jan, what kind of character. So, you know, initially only on one of the looks he had said, Manisha, Malika Jan would have many layers. She, she can murder. She loves passionately. She is a proud Tawayaf. She's a proud this thing. Um, she also is a woman, that time, that shade, we haven't done that shade, but she's also a woman who expects that Nawab to really stand by her. And when he doesn't, so her heart breaks. We didn't shoot that bit. But she's also, so basically, she had many layers. And as the scene developed, we kept that in mind. But there's a beautiful scene where, after getting raped, she's in the water, this thing, and she says, neither I was a good mother, nor I was a good sister, or a good friend, or a good lover, but the wife, I was damn good. So I think the crux of her, how she understands is that.
I mean, obviously, everybody creates this image and diva, or the press portrays you in a certain way. But when did you decide, ki, okay, this is me? Like, it was always take it or leave it with you. There were no, you were not being, every time I met you, I was not discovering a new person. It was just you, Manisha Koirala. And which was perhaps the most attractive quality. That is one. And also you had a remarkable sense of detachment. I don't think the frills of showbiz ever affected you.
Right.
So how did you get this kind of very on? I mean, like I said, whether it's your relationships, whether it was drinking,
Yeah.
whether you were just very easy.
And upfront about it.
Upfront.
And
Upfront.
unapologetic. I think my growing up, I think I give the credit to my mother. I remember very clearly during Saudagar time or something, there was a Coke, there was a vodka mix, and I was told by people around me saying that just don't tell people that you're drinking vodka, because actresses are not meant to be drinking alcohol. And so, say you're drinking Coke. I learned that new thing. So I told my mom, Mom, I'm drinking Coke. And she knew had put vodka. She said, Listen, if you're drinking a vodka, say you're drinking vodka. Don't say you're drinking Coke. Don't lie. For small little things, this is, don't be so this thing. So I guess as far as a relationship also, I carried the same funda. And if I was dating somebody, I'm dating somebody. Good, bad, ugly, you want to judge me, go ahead and judge me, but that's me, this is me. And I lead my life in my own term. And so, I mean, I faced the flag for it, Jitesh, because those days, I mean, the heroes could have many girlfriends, but they would be termed as macho men, and oh, there's this thing. But the actress was supposed to be this, no, 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 nobody's touching me, nobody this thing, and there's a mother figure always around hovering, and we are very
Which you never had.
untouched. And my mother would come once in a while when she wanted to come,
Yeah.
not a permanent figure with me. So um, I guess I did face the flack for it because then it was also misunderstood that it's very easy or easy girl to So, but I took it on my stride. I don't think I was so freaking happy. I have to say this when see the younger generation, and demanding equality, when being open about their personal space and equally being professional in their life. So, because that didn't make sense to me. Just because I have a personal life or I have a boyfriend doesn't mean I'm going to be unprofessional in my life. I love my work, So that we had some very warped value system for actresses, and which didn't go well with me.
Yeah, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just recall the 90s for me. I remember there was a lot of cat fights, and though despite you having worked with say Juhi and
Yeah.
Sushmita Sen, Madhuri Dixit,
Yeah.
but I also remember the magazines are full of the cat fights and all of that. So were friendships easier then? Or was it like nobody talked about the heroes fighting, but they
Yeah.
definitely talked about the girls fighting.
And also there was a time when we did fight. We did say things, and I think maturing up, we realized we were actually involved in something which is not really helping anyone. Nobody is looking better, nobody's feeling better, nobody's. It's such a non, uh, not so required, zone. So, but we all were young, Chitesh. We were like 18,
20.
90s, 20s, and we've never really faced the world. I was just out of school and into this world. So, and likewise for many of my colleagues back then. And yes, we were friends also. I remember Ravina, Pooja, all of us were at one time good friends, and
Tell me a bit about your Mani Ratnam experience. I mean, you did Bombay. Actually, Bombay really turned the tide for you in terms after
yeah,
Saudagar,
yeah.
and then there was Dil Se, which you worked. I mean, what were you going through when you did Bombay? What were you going through when you did Dil Se?
When I was going through Bombay, I was very unsure because entire film we shot in Tamil, and all I knew that I need to put in hard work. I was enamored with him from the first day of the shoot. Okay, like we did this scene. I think the first day of the shoot I still remember is when Shaila Banu discovers the letter of her father-in-law where he's saying, अगर बच्चा हुआ तो बच्चा गिराने को बोलो, why you have to marry her, and something something something, and she reads and she breaks down. And the way he had shot, he's I was enamored. I mean, I thought this is a new way of new style of shooting, and I was totally enamored with the whole setup. There was a only work, 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 work environment, and we would get up. I would get up at 3 or 4 in the morning, and 3 hours of Tamil dialogue, rato, 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 rato. फिर 7 बजे ठीक set पे you have to be ready with makeup. So I would be up by 2, 3, whatever time, and 3 hours of ratoing, and then reach on location. And of course, I would be napping in between. So whenever there was a little break, I would go to small little the space we had put a bed. I'll nap and then ready, ready. So it was all work, lot of and the thing is that in the energy of working with Manisha, because he himself is on the toes all the time. There's no excuse for anybody else not to work. And so I remember that. I remember putting in a lot of hours. I remember being very satisfied, job, creative happiness. And but honestly, till date, I have a huge flaw. I don't know whether you call it flaw or I don't know what it is, but I cannot really fully understand if I've done a good job or a bad job till somebody tells me. Okay? And till date, that's true with me. Like after seeing Bombay, I remember I had kept a trial at Ajanta Theatre those days.
Yeah.
Sunil Dutt Saab used to have it.
Yeah,
And Mazhar Khan was there, the whole jing bang, shebang, everybody was there. And all my inner circle of friends, they all saw it and came back, and everybody started congratulating me. And Sunil Dutt Saab had seen and sent a letter or something, and I was like, really, have I done good job? It sunk into me that I did good job, you know. So that was Bombay. They'll say for me
you had become a
was,
massive star by then. There's
and
a
it was in
time-
Hindi.
Yeah,
And it was in Hindi. I was given a certain feedback by sir, what to do and what not to do, and that whole basically a lot of internalization of the character not being too expressive and showing on the face. And I moved that. I just listened to my director, and I follow them like a this thing, and like a rule book, you know. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful working with Shahrukh then.
what has changed between the 90s and the 2000s? Like right now, I remember there was a time I came to your house, it was around 7 in the morning. We went to Mehboob. You shot for about 3. I was doing like a day in the life of a star. After Mehboob, we went to Film City. You shot for 3 hours. Then we went to, I think, Chandivli Studios. And then we returned to Filmistan. So it was around 9 o'clock. Isn't that unthinkable today?
It
Like
is.
four shoots in a day.
Yeah, it's totally unthinkable. I don't know how I did it. Honestly, I have no clue how I managed it. But the thing is, when everybody was doing that, it was not only me.
Correct.
Everyone was doing. So I felt this is norm. ऐसे ही चलता है. And like I have done in Rajasthan during that love letter film, I had 100, 400 high temperature. And in the winter, we were
No
doing
vanity
rain
vans,
song.
no
No,
vanity vans.
we're doing the rain song in the middle of the night till 4, 5 in the morning. So, but the thing is, you're told by your makeup, hair, people who've been in the industry longer than you, that this is norm. You don't make the unit wait and you don't make the producer pay. Even if you fall sick, you have to perform. So I became tough with those.
But is
you
that a
know,
good thing? I mean,
you know, I'm a tough person, and thanks to the hurdles or the environment, I don't break easily, and our world is actually a place where you need to be tough, not only physical health wise, but emotionally, psychologically. You need to be able to take so much of adulation, and one fine day you give a flop, nobody recognizes you, and some younger person comes in, or somebody else becomes a bigger star. Y- Thing is, if you're not able to see that everything is transient, it's nothing is permanent, And if you're not able to see कि अभी success है, success रहेगा कुछ दिन, enjoy that. But कोई और उसके बाद दूसरा कुछ, something else is going to succeed. That level of wisdom, that level of this thing one has to have.
And you always had it then.
I had it then.
How did you deal with your vulnerabilities, and like you use the word psychological? Did you go to therapy? Did you have backup? How did you? Also, it's so constantly roller coaster. Oh, there's ageism, which
Yeah.
we'll talk about in a bit. And then there is, अच्छा इसकी 3 picture flop हो गई, she's out of
Yeah.
work, and the trade is very cutting.
Yeah.
When they want to be.
Yeah.
So how did you deal with all that? That must have been tough, no?
The thing is, I don't think I was immune to all that, or I had any kind of support system to really fathom what was going on. I only had to live through it. And when you live through it, you do mistakes as well. And then you fall, and then you pick yourself up, and then you walk again, and you again fall. Your life teaches you, and ultimately, after multiple falls, and you finally, oh, this is how it is. So coming back to now, everything is available. Like when I came back from my cancer treatment, one of my friend who's an artist, and he suggested, Manisha, I think you're depressed, and why don't you go through a therapy? I was game. I said, yes, I want to, because I don't want anything that is lurking and I've not paid attention to. If there's something in me which needs healing, I will take that action. And I went through 1 years of therapy, and it's really, it opened my eyes. And you realize, oh my God, when these things are available, make the best use of it. When we have a physical ailment, we go to the doctor. We don't try to heal it ourselves. Likewise, for mental, there are experts who can guide you, and take therapy. That old school of, pagal to nahi ho gaye, going to an extreme and putting them in a box is gone, and now, of course, I went. And sometimes when I feel, okay, if the lingering worry is too long, I think about it. Luckily, I haven't needed it now. But if I ever feel again, I will. And there's no.
Of course.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the more we talk about it, the more we normalize stuff.
Exactly.
Like
And we need to normalize it.
Yeah. What's the worst piece of advice that you've received?
I don't know if I should say it, but let me just say it. I've never said this before. But this was very earlier on in my career. And there was one famous photographer, and I was asked to go and take a photograph, And Meena was there, mom was there, okay, and initially that photographer said, oh, you are a next superstar, and you're big this, and you're big that. I'm not taking names specifically.
I know.
So you're a star material, and blah, 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 blah. And Kattu, he brings a 2-piece bikini to me and says, wear them. I need to see you. And I was like, okay. So I said, sir, I wear this to go to beach or to swim in a swimming pool. But if this is the way I have to get into the movies, I don't want it. And I'm not wearing that. Either you want to shoot me fully clothed, fine. Otherwise, he gave me one big dialogue. I remember that dialogue. And that said, जो मिट्टी पिघलने से शर्माती हो, उसकी हम मूर्ति कैसे बनाएं? So it's...
Wow. See, that is toxic patriarchy.
So, I mean, I've never forgotten that till date. It's been like gazillion years, but I don't forget that, but that's how the mentality was, I guess, of some of the people, not everybody, some of the people like that. And same person who later on did photograph me had to when I was a big celebrity and said, oh, I knew you are going to be a big star. We knew that you're going to be a big star. So it's like, not being mean to the person. The conscious level was that. Their exposure or understanding was that. So they behave like that, you know. Um, it also is like I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew, there are certain things which I won't, you know, yeah.
What's the advice you'd give today to a 20-year-old Manisha?
Oh, I would, Jitesh, there's a lot I need to say to her, but mostly I would say have confidence in yourself. And, I was so uncertain. I was, I did not know what life had ahead of me, how long my career would be, whether I would want to be in this career for too long. And um, I think I would want her to, uh, if this is who I am today, like if I take on any responsibility, I do it 200%. I want her that even, I wish I did that when I was in my 20s. That level of committed कि ये मैंने लिया है और मैं इसमें जान दे दूँगी और फिर डिसकनेक्ट हो जाएंगे इसके बाद. मतलब ऐसा नहीं कि आप लाइफ लॉन्ग उसके साथ जुड़े रहो, सो बट that quality I wish I had back then. Also, I wish I was slightly more confident and self assured.
Did you ever take your career for granted? Like,
Absolutely, yes.
yeah.
Yeah. And I realized this during my, when I thought I was going to die. Most of my realization happened when I thought I was going to die. And like sitting, not knowing whether this cancer, uh, is going to kill me, or it's going to cripple me, or I'll be, half Manisha Koirala, I don't know. So the flashback happens, and the flashback may, you kind of start reevaluating where all did I go wrong? What are the things that I could have done if this is life, and if this life is ending? What could I have done better? How could I have improved or lived my life better? So there are 4, 5 things which came to my mind, very simplistically, and one of them was my work, my career, and I realized I had taken my work for granted, because I kept on, you know, um, it had given me so much of a love, so much of adulation, my identity in the world, my place under the sun, you know, and I needed to give same amount of love and affection and attention to it. That's how it's a two-way equation, and it's complete. But I was immature. Life hadn't happened to me, and I realized, एक बार आया दोबारा वापस, I'll keep on creating it. That nose up in the air, and you think, life is waiting for you to just decide, and it'll happen. So I did take it for granted. And I did regret it later on.
Were you completely numb when you realized that you had the cancer? And what was, I mean, like you had told me ki your so-called well-wishers had all disappeared.
Yeah.
Your friend circle had suddenly become very small. There was no one to turn back. What was going through your mind at that point?
No, a lot, slowly things opened up, and I realized. Initial shock was I was shocked. I felt I was alone that night in the hospital. I felt the loneliest night was that. The longest and the loneliest night was that. And that.
Were you in a lot of pain?
No,
Not pain.
no, not in pain. Um, but fear of death is very unusual, and it cannot be explained through words. But it's something which only a person who's going through can understand. I remember Ashok Mehta ji. I tell you, I always remember him. When his cancer had come back, he was in Kokila Ban, and I had gone to see him, and he was. I still remember the look on his face that death lurking in his eyes, And the moment he saw me, he started crying. And I just held his hand and said, Chachu, don't cry, you'll be fine. And today, that I myself had gone through that phase, I wish I held his hand and said, it's okay, you can cry. And just don't say anything, but just be there with that person without trying to advise that person. So I feel um, it teaches you a lot, yeah, Jitesh. A lot of frills are taken off. The reality comes in, you know. You change. You realize the thing that you had valued is no longer important. What matter is solid, real, authentic,
Connection.
connections. And yes, if the frills are there, enjoy it. But also know that it's not there to last. It's never going to stand with you in your tough time. So make your bond with the real people stronger and be there for them. And not only be there for them, you be the change, you know, and forgive and move on, forgive and move on, forgive and move on. I have done that. I made peace. I forgive. I was immature to expect people to be there. Today I realize it's tough to be with somebody you think they are dying. It's tough because somewhere it reminds them of our mortality, our own, that space. So people like to be in a happy space because they are also going through a lot of struggle themselves. So दूसरे की दुख में क्यों खा खड़े हो?
Correct.
So forgive and move on. So this has been my motto.
What is the conversation that you have when you meet your 90s colleagues? And, I mean, a lot of them tell me about, ageism.
Yeah.
Like, have you been told you should go under the knife, you should try Botox and fillers? Have you been given any kind of, have you been tempted to try all that and all of that?
See, I'm tempted.
I think but you're
So
lovely, you shouldn't do anything.
thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I have to say, I have tried to do many things that is a fad nowadays, so that I become one with the gang.
Like what? Come on, tell me.
So, I mean, I don't know what I should say. And it's like try test few things and doesn't work and said not meant for me and moving on and all
I remember
that.
then you were heavily into fad diets.
Yeah.
You were doing a lot of those fad
Yeah,
diets and then
yeah.
all of that.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think first of all, ageism is something that we need to talk about because it's again putting something in a box and looking from a very narrow perspective and not really seeing, like, I tell you, for an example, in Heeramandi, I'm giving you this example because this example is fresh in people's mind. Um, Nobody thought like 50-year-old actress would be the main lead or one of the main leads.
And look at you.
You know,
I mean, look at you.
if Sanjay believed in ageism, it wouldn't be so. And because I mean, it needs guts, it needs a vision, it needs a conviction to go past that. Otherwise, this whole thing of when you cross that age, then you are not center of attention. Then you automatically on the periphery. And actually, I made peace with periphery also at one point, because I thought if this is the way of life, I need to be okay with this. Um, but I think the world is changing. Um, in terms of beauty, you see, the big brands going for older women also with the younger, and there's this thing in terms of performances, whether it's OTT, which has opened the doors, you see older men and women who are doing great work, which probably they would be sitting at home, and so a lot of barriers have been broken, a lot of things have changing, and also I have to give it to the younger generation who are also very open. They are the one who started this Me Too movement, the whole conversation, Me Too, ageism, pay parity. All these things are basically equal rights. And the younger generation who is actually carrying the torch. It's not our generation which is talking too much about it. It's the younger generation who are fueling the whole thing. So I give it to them. It's their sense of what is right and what is just, which is they are voicing it and it's being heard.
Tell me about relationships. I mean, like, I've been with you on certain occasions and all of that, and you've had very strong views on relationships.
Yeah.
Today, when you look back, what are the do's and don'ts? Like, if you were ever to be in a relationship again,
Yeah.
what is it that you would look for us in a soulmate, a partner?
If you've read my book Healed, I have really solely scrutinized why have I fallen for the wrong men. I have really, because it's like, I think, why am I doing this again and again? It can't be the guy is wrong. There's something wrong in me to be like getting attracted to who's a troubled person in the room. And then I go, you see? So I kind of figured this out that first I need to really work on whatever is bothering me and whatever this conditioning inside me is. And I've been single for 5, 6 years now, and I'm not in a mood to mingle because I still feel there's a lot of work I need to do with myself. And also when you start being single and walking, you start enjoying the freedom and you start enjoying the life. So, but having said all that, at some point, I would want to have a good connection um, where I feel we both accept and are honest to where we are at in terms of we would have lived uh, quite some time of years, and it's very important to understand what are the lessons that we need to learn and what are the things that we need to grow. Not, I'm talking about external thing, but internal things. And if we can support each other in our journey, and I wish to be with somebody who has dreams and ambition, who, it doesn't have to be materialistic ambition. It could be, I want to go trek XYZ mountain, or I want to do this, but some sort of a passion, because I'm a passionate person. I like to do things, and I like to. So yeah, I mean, I don't, those parameters which we earlier had, good looks, tall, dark, and handsome, and rich, and all that, I think there's beyond than that, which would be more valuable to me now.
What about being a single parent? Have you ever considered adoption? Have
Yeah.
you?
I thought of it, Jitesh. I really seriously thought of it, and my parents didn't agree. And now I realize why they didn't agree. Is because, the thing is, again, I have to say this, but after my cancer recovery, I'm a person who likes to do things perfectly. I pay attention, and then if nothing gets, the things don't go according to the way I wanted it to, I get anxiety. So I've seen my parents telling me, chill now, chill. So I feel somewhere they feel that it'll add stress to me, and maybe they're right, and uncertainty of life, because I've had last stage of cancer, and we don't know what the future holds and stuff like that. And my parents are old. So I'd rather have a quality time with my parents. I rather look after them, be loved by them, be pampered by them, and pamper them. And that's about it. There's a part of me will always have, I wouldn't call it a vacuum, but there's a part of me will always feel that, oh my God, I did miss out on being a mother, you know. And but I need to make peace with that and move on, because everybody doesn't get everything in life.
A few regrets you do have, in the sense you would maybe vis-a-vis your career you'd look at it more seriously, but if I asked you if there was something else that you do differently, what would it be?
First of all, in I have almost 100 films I've done.
Wow.
I would probably be doing like 50 at the most, you know.
So you did a lot of films for money.
Yeah, yeah. And or films that I thought would be commercial viable, you know, and things like that. So, and probably I would end up um, um, slightly. See, the thing is, I was always 200% focused when Mani Ratnam, Sanjay Bhansali, Mansoor Khan, all these good directors, I was like fully focused because I was kicked about that. So other project and all, I was half-heartedly doing it. So anywhere I felt I was doing half-hearted, I rather not do that, you know, today. I want to do project where I want to give my 200%. So things like that, you know, I would change. Also, I guess in relationships, I was looking because this work. I was an outsider, right? I came from Nepal, from Delhi, and totally an outsider. Did not know anybody, too many people. I was just out of school, not aware of right and wrong, you know. It's just that I felt that loneliness a good boyfriend or partner would fill, but that never happens, you know. So I guess instead of in a loneliness looking for a male figure or something, find a creative way to not be lonely, you know.
Instead
You
of
know, instead of getting
No,
into
my problem was I used to always find your boyfriend, some of them users. Like you were a massive giver. You were extremely compassionate. You were generous,
yeah.
and I think they were relating to you as the star. The men you dated, they were not relating. I mean, this is my
Yeah.
personal take on it.
They would talk so beautifully, romantically about the relationship that I took her to this candlelight dinner and this, that. Then I said, eh? When does that happen? That's never, that didn't
I
happen.
paid for the dinner.
No, when, you know, so I felt, yeah, I mean, you know, there was always this red flag every time, but then I would forgive and move on and, you know, so things like that, I guess. With time, with age, with, you know, all that you realize, I had collected too many unnecessary people around me. I don't need that. I don't need to be assured by people, other people, you know, self-assured, knowing what I want, be focused, and work with people whom I respect, like that.
So now here's an audience which wants to ask you a few questions. I mean, they're all
Okay.
intrigued with your journey as an actor.
Okay.
So go ahead.
While working on Heeramandi, how much kind of exposure did you get to Tawaif and Gharana culture? Like, and how do you think it's being portrayed in Bollywood today?
My Urdu diction teacher, she had done a lot of research on that. So I used to talk to her every day and talk about, you know, and, what are they, what were they like, what is it that moved them, you know, what were they thinking and how they were. So it was like she explained to me a lot. And that they were not sex workers, they were not prostitutes, but they were tawaif who are trained in art and culture and language and tehzeeb and manners and, you know, how to sit, how to eat a pan, how to, you know, whatever. So she taught me. Besides than that, Sanjay Bhansali also had already done a lot of research on that, and it was a mixture of all, on the set and talking to Sanjay, talking to Muniraji. That's how I got to know.
What sort of inspiration did you seek when you decided to do this character? It's such a layered character of Mallikajaan.
So I had seen Peaky Blinders, and I realized the new way of doing an evil character is not making caricaturish, but that's steel, hardcore eyes, which speaks volumes, and also a bit of Meryl Streep in Devil's Wear Prada, because she's also very gentle. She's also very delicate and gentle, but in that movie, she's so evilish and so heartless, you know. So those two external figure that I had in back of my head. But my main teacher, my main coach was Sanjay while doing it. And I just had to understand what is he wanting. My first scene was that Mendi scene, but when Cartwright comes and then Gutterji and all that, no, I was so nervous. I was that मुझे नहीं मालूम था because मैंने सुर पकड़ा है कि नहीं. What is he expecting? Have I understood? But he told me later on, Manisha, when you performed that, I knew that you got it. But I started feeling as couple of days went by and all that.
Shah Rukh Khan had this whole, he's always had this romantic hero kind of a thing. Even so, after DDLJ, when he did Dil Se, and you realize that, when I am doing a Shah Rukh Khan film, it's not that fun, romantic thing. It's this very serious, tragic, ill-fated kind of a thing. So did you have that, did you see that contrast and be like, what's happening?
I'm a director's actor. So whoever my co-actor are, and no matter how big actor or how wonderful they are, my focus has always been, what is the director expecting me to deliver? So to me, it was a great opportunity to do something which I had never done. And my only high was that I was working with Mani Ratnam,
Your last series in Heeramandi, you played such an intense character. So what should we expect from you for the future projects? Like, are you planning to do an intense role again, or do we see you kind of doing something else?
I hope to, my earlier career decision has been to have a balance between a serious cinema, an independent serious art house cinema, as well as commercial setup. And somehow not really add the balance, but I hope to continue that. I hope to be part of some big commercial film also. But I mainly hope to, just keep on excelling as an artist. I love this art form. I love acting. I love cinema. And I feel I'm still very hungry to do something that I've not done, and to play characters which will, again, people will talk the way Heeramandi everybody's talking. So yeah.
My question is, did you have to go to therapy after Heeramandi?
Honestly,
It's so dark. It's so dark, as in your
Yeah.
Mallikajaan, so dark and so layered and nuanced. I mean,
thank you.
well done, well done.
Thank you. मेहनत का फल मीठा होता है.
How long do you stay with
Have I come out with this corny lines every now and then?
No, but having said that, you have done a marvelous job. I mean, it takes lot of spine to keep at it and come back 30 years later with Heeramandi. So more power to you, and thank you very much for being part of this conversation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Love you.
Love you. So thank you again. Thank you again for just being so wonderful. Thank you.